Most people think danger announces itself loudly, with sirens, headlines, and warning signs you can't miss. In Mexico, it often does the opposite. It whispers, smiles, hands you a menu, and waits. That's the uncomfortable part no one really likes to admit, because the town's locals warn you about rarely look dangerous at first glance. They feel normal, sometimes even inviting. From the outside, this topic feels obvious. Bad places are clearly bad, good places are clearly safe, and smart people can tell the difference. Then, consequences show up quietly, weeks or months later, and the story changes. Locals don't warn you because something terrible always happens, but they warn you because something eventually does. Slowly, indirectly, but often enough to leave a mark. And here's a detail we'll return to. Some of the most attractive towns carry the highest long-term cost, not financially, but emotionally. Remember that. This conversation keeps repeating for a reason. People are drawn to beauty, affordability, and simplicity. They assume risk is evenly distributed. It isn't. This isn't advice, and it's not fear. It's definitely not a recycled forum list. This is filtered information, the kind locals share quietly, usually after you've already signed a lease. Many of these towns aren't violent. More, they're exhausting. And that distinction matters more than it sounds. You'll hear about a place that looks peaceful, but charges an emotional toll. Another where the problem sounds simple but never resolves. One that offers opportunity but slowly narrows your world. And one where the risk isn't physical at all until it suddenly is. If this kind of thinking is your thing, subscribing helps. Not urgently, more like keeping a spare flashlight in the drawer. By the end, you'll understand the real trade-offs here. Let's break it down. Number 7. If you've ever believed quiet automatically means safe, welcome to Chilpancingo. It's a mid-sized city of roughly 200,000, often described as a transit hub rather than a destination. Jobs exist, mostly in government services and local commerce. Healthcare is present but uneven, and infrastructure works until it doesn't. The appeal is cost, rent stays low, food is affordable, and life feels genuinely local. At first, that simplicity feels grounding. Then, the downsides appear. Roadblocks are common enough to feel normal. Traveling outside the city can be unpredictable, and locals say news moves faster by rumor than by official channels. The emotional cost is vigilance, not fear, just constant awareness that never fully switches off. There's also the quiet frustration of being told everything is fine, while adjusting your plans around what clearly just isn't. Picture this: late afternoon heat, a siren you can't quite place, shops closing early for reasons no one explains. Would you accept uncertainty as background noise, yes or no? Because next, the trade-off hides behind beauty. Number 6. This one feels like a postcard until you live inside it. Welcome to Tulum. The population swells with the seasons, costs have surged, rent now rivals major cities, healthcare leans private, and regulation struggles to keep up. The appeal is obvious: beauty, community, escape. People here arrive convinced they've found balance. The downsides are quieter but constant. Infrastructure lags, power outages aren't rare, and petty crime tends to rise with tourism. The emotional cost is erosion. The magic fades, replaced by logistics and compromises. And there's that moment when you realize you're paying luxury prices for developing world reliability. Charming once, irritating forever. Picture this: humid night air, music drifting nearby, a generator humming like it owns the place. Would you trade consistency for aesthetics long-term? Yes or no? Because next, charm tightens. Number 5. Often sold as authentic, and in many ways it is. Welcome to Taxco, a mountain town under 50,000, built on tourism and silver. Public services exist but are limited, and healthcare often means travel. The appeal is atmosphere, cobblestones, history, and slower days that feel intentional. The downsides here are physical. Steep streets wear you down, traffic traps you, and job mobility is limited. The emotional cost is enclosure. Beautiful, yes, but quietly confining. And charm doesn't shovel itself during emergencies. Romantic, until it rains. Picture this: morning mist, echoing bells, your footsteps louder than expected. Would you accept stillness that sometimes feels like stagnation? Yes or no? Because next, size complicates things. Number 4. If you equate size with safety, welcome to Reynosa, a large border city with industry, jobs, and stretched healthcare. Things move fast here. The appeal is opportunity, trade, access, momentum. Welcome to the world. The downsides here are volatility, safety changes block by block, timing matters, and locals plan around unofficial advice. The emotional cost is adaptation. You adjust constantly, often without noticing. Checking routes before messages becomes normal. Picture this: dry heat, traffic humming, a street going silent all at once. Would you live somewhere that requires daily recalibration, yes or no? Because next, stability becomes a waiting game. Number 3. This one sounds exaggerated until you see the pattern. Welcome to Ciudad Obregón. Affordable housing, agriculture-driven jobs, functional services, hospitals that work. Most of the time. The appeal is practicality. Life functions, routines form easily, but the downside is unpredictability. Violence isn't constant, but it's cyclical. And timing is everything. The emotional cost is waiting, never knowing when normal quietly shifts. Not today becomes reassurance, which is a strange thing to need. Picture this: bright sun, dust in the air, a conversation pausing as a motorcycle passes. Would you live with risk that comes and goes, yes or no? Because next, beauty adds weight. Number 2. Earlier we said beauty has a cost. Here we are. Welcome to Acapulco. Once iconic, still stunning, still alive, comes with large population, uneven services, healthcare quality depending heavily on location. The appeal is nostalgia, ocean views, history, and memory. The downsides are layered. Crime contrasts sharply with resort zones, infrastructure shows neglect, and locals talk more about lost potential than danger. The emotional cost is grief. Living inside what something used to be. That's heavier than fear. Picture this: salt air, vivid sunsets, empty buildings holding old promises. Would you choose beauty that asks you to look away, yes or no? Because now, we close the loop with number 1. This was never about danger announcing itself. This is about honesty. Welcome to Culiacan, a large city with real infrastructure, hospitals, universities, and an economy not built on visitors. The appeal is functionality, life works. The downsides are structural because security issues are openly acknowledged. Timing and awareness shapes daily life, and institutions adapt rather than resolve. The emotional cost is clarity. You know exactly where you stand, and that knowledge changes how you live. Unlike Acapulco's loss or Tulum's erosion, there's no illusion here. Just trade-offs in plain view. Picture this: warm evening air, steady traffic, a calm that feels earned, not guaranteed. Would you prefer transparency over comfort, yes or no? Because that's the real question behind this list. None of these towns are warnings. They're negotiations. Between cost and comfort, beauty and reliability, what looks safe and what actually sustains you. You weren't warned, you were informed. And if you stayed until the end, you already know that the most dangerous assumption is thinking you've seen the whole picture.